about my life, who are you chasing? Yeah, I'm 33 now just to give you a glimpse. Life without you, I've been blessed ever since, but there's...
What's up, guys? I am Kennis Clark, Christian recording artist. I'm married. I am a stepfather. I'm from New York, and I relate to the topic because I've never met my biological father. Where do I start? So, similar to you, Will, I have a stepfather. But I never met my real father at all. When I was younger, I have very vague memories of anybody being there except for my stepdad. Very early on, it was me and my older sister and my mom. And my oldest sister also has a different father who I've never met, and I don't think she's never met either. So the story is that my mom had me. She was married to a gentleman. I'm not gonna say his name, but she was married, and she had me with him. And he told her one day that he was going to the store, and he just never came back. My mom, she was just trying to get on her feet, and she came from, an abusive home. So she also didn't have many examples on how to choose a good man. So that's a whole different layer to everything. But yeah, she said that they met, the way they met, they met down when she was coming out the corner store. They locked eyes and met, that's how they started talking. And she never had any signs that he was who he was. She did know he was, in the streets. He was a part of some of that. But he always was a gentleman with her. Never ever gave her any inkling of like abuse or disrespect, or that he, my mom told me that he loved me. Like he would, lay with me and hold me. Sometimes he wouldn't even let her touch me. Like, no, I got it. Cut it away. But one day, she said, he literally said, hey, I'm gonna go to the store. And he never came back. She told me that, he was having some trouble finding work and things like that. He didn't come from a loving family. His mom died when he was in high school. So his mom died, which would have been my grandmother. She passed away from cancer. His dad was unfaithful to her. So very early on, when I'm now as a child, I'm coherent, I can see and understand some things. That I think that usually happens to me at like about 4 or 5 years old. You can start remembering stuff. And is this him calling work now? You gotta be funny, right? But let me talk to him. Yeah, right? I started to realize that there's a man here that's my dad, but my younger brother is the junior. So I kind of started to put things together because my mom met a new guy. They got together. He took me and my older sister in, which I thought was just like that's a different type of man to do that. 2 children. And they have different parents and just the situation. So, but just to backtrack a little bit, so when my mom realized that my real dad was nowhere to be found, she checked to see if he was dead or if anything happened to him. And she would hear that he was alive because she heard through the streets or whatever that, oh, we just saw him over here, or we saw him. But, so she said, listen, I need to leave. So she ended up leaving the home she was in, staying with a friend, and her friend took her to church. And then at church, that's where she met my stepdad. My stepdad, he never met his real father either. So, I don't know, maybe he felt compelled to be with my mom, seeing her struggling with these two kids that don't got a dad, So they got together. They ended up having 2 other children, which is my younger brother and my younger sister. When she had my younger brother was the junior. And every time we go to hang with the family or like see the grandmother or anybody, they would always say to him, you look just like your dad. Oh man, you look just like your father. You look just like your father. Yeah, that's your father. And I understood that I was older, but I'm not the junior. There's something wrong here. I say by the time I was maybe 7, 8 years old, I had an idea in my head, and I don't know how I got the idea, but the idea, I realized that my stepdad wasn't my real dad. And I was like, hey, I started having ideas, and I looked at my brother, and I looked at my sister, and their facial features now, and I'm putting it together. And one day my mom and my stepdad brought me in the living room, and they was like, hey, we think it's about time that, your stepdad is not your biological father. And as a kid, I don't think I fully understood what they were saying to me because, they say kids are resilient. So I just said, I know. I cheerfully said, I know. I love you, Dad. And I hugged him. Because that was my dad. That's the only father I knew. And I took him in, and there was nothing that could change. I couldn't even fathom another person sharing DNA with someone else saying, they're my dad. As years started to go along, it started to create questions in my mind. I started to kind of resent my real dad. Like, hold on, so where are you? Where are you? I remember my mom had a picture of my real dad and my mom, and she was like, hey, I found this picture, I think you should have this. And she gave me the picture, and it was a little blurry. I couldn't really make his face out. I saw him, but I didn't see him. And, he was staying with my mom. And I had the picture for a little while, but I lost it. And it was almost symbolic to reality. It was like I was so separated from anything about him, and even him blurry was showing how he just wasn't present. Around that same time, my mom told me she ended up going into the grocery store with me one day. And she later told me this, but she was in the grocery store one day, and my father was in it, and they locked eyes. And she said that they were just communicating through vision. And it was just almost like pathetic. Because he didn't even walk over to me to say, like not even to play like he would be like my mom's friend. Like, hey, what's up, little man? Just to take me in. He just looked at my mom, saw me, and there was nothing. So when she later told me that angered me more because it was just like, dude, where are you? You're in the same city. Where are you? I vividly remember Will Smith with the Fresh Prince show, and his, that time with his dad in that film, he couldn't stick around, and how Uncle Phil just embraced him in that time, and I remember connecting with that so much. But again, it was I didn't have a face to place my anger on. I didn't have that. It was just a question. So when I would ask my mom, she didn't know much information more than I did. As years progressed, the anger turned into curiosity in my early 20s, and I started to try to look for him. But it was frustrating because I didn't have any information on him. I had his name, maybe his date of birth. I didn't know where he was. It wasn't until I was maybe like 27 that I found him, but again, still not connecting with him. So, searching online, paid for service to, finally figure it out. And God led me through a series of websites, and I ended up finding a criminal record on him. And getting into the criminal record in New York State, ended up finding out that the year I graduated high school, he went away to jail for 12 years for armed robbery. So it was something crazy, I already know. And then I actually found the place he was at, the jail. And I took it upon myself to call him, try to see by reaching out to him. Not knowing what response was on the other side of the phone. And then I called him. I guess the warden answered, and I kind of said, "Hey, can I speak to so-and-so?" I said, "Okay, 1 second." And then there was this pause that felt like it took hours. And right before I heard someone say something, I literally heard like something pick up and I hung up the phone. Because I felt that I wasn't ready to hear what he had to say. Because as a grown man now, putting everything together, it just felt like there was no excuse. I know that there's reasons, but it's still like no excuses how all this time has passed and not yet reach out to him. I then got in touch with one of his friends through Facebook. So one of his friends who knew him in that time, he got in touch with me. He's like, "Yo, you look just like your father. Wow, I've been trying to get in touch with him too. Have you been connected with him?" I'm like, "No." And he started to tell me a little bit about who he was in that time. In that time that I was speaking with this friend, it really brought back a lot of memories and a lot of feelings and emotions. And I remember I wanted to express this in some kind of way, but I just didn't have the courage to do it. I then later started to think about, maybe writing a song about it or putting it somewhere to where it can resonate with someone else outside myself. Might be dealing with some of the same things, because as a young man being raised by a stepfather who also didn't have a father, it's just a continuation of missing building blocks to being a man. So just like past night, I sought out father figures and like mentors and people who were willing to pour into me. So right now, my father is out of jail. He has a Facebook. Sent a friend request. Still nothing. And I just feel like there's no excuses.
Why you never came back?